program on one of my favorite topics, which is food. And it'd be great to have it in person. And I'm sure Mary would love some of that chili con, I forgot how to say it now. Chili en nogada. And what I got to say something about presentation. I just love it when chefs and restaurants present it to you the way that they did. We had a recent donation from Anonymous, so thank you, Anonymous, for donating, whoever you are. I want to introduce you to our next guest, Mary Field with the International School of San Antonio. Thank you so much.
Hello, 你好，大家好。
Ni hao. Can I say ni hao back?
Of course.
Okay, great. Because I know sometimes the formalities of the languages, you can't say the same thing back. I know in Polish, you could use the same thing throughout the day. There's an evening hello and there's a daylight hello. But if you say dzień dobry, you could say that anytime. And especially if you're an American who doesn't know how to speak it, they cut you some slack.
That's nice of them.
Mary, before we go into your instructions on Chinese, you're with the International School of San Antonio. Tell our viewers what you do there.
Sure. So at the International School of San Antonio, I supervise our teachers in our French language immersion program and our Chinese language immersion program. So we have a full-time immersion preschool, and then we also offer classes on the weekends and camps.
Wow, nice. And how many languages do you speak?
Well, one thing a message that I really try to tell people is that being bilingual or trilingual, it's not a 1 or a 0. We all have different levels of proficiency in the languages that we speak. So, for example, if you have a fairly low level of French, but you still go to Paris and you can get around. And I have done this with a low level of French and found that actually, French people are quite lovely to people who struggle. You can say, you are bilingual just to a limited degree. So I speak English and Chinese, and I use them both for my work. But I speak Spanish with my in-laws sometimes, and it's certainly not perfect, but it from my point of view that we should consider bilingualism or trilingualism as a level of degree. Sure, I mean, we can say yes, I speak 3 languages, but just different degrees of proficiency.
Sure. And Chinese is one of the more difficult ones, I think. But I think you're going to make it easy today. You don't need me, right? You're just going to do your instruction.
Well, I would love if you could follow along as my student. I think you'll find, and this is another message that I try to get out to people, is that I think it's more useful to think about, okay, how much time do you need to spend getting input in the language in order to become more proficient?
Got it.
So thinking about it in terms of, hard or difficult, I mean, sure, it's very flattering if people tell me, oh, Chinese is very hard. But really, it is all about just hearing that language and being able to understand it. It's going to help you learn it. So I always tell people to focus on just getting that input, and don't even think about declensions or subject verb agreement or whatever else you can come up with, things like cases. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't mind being the guinea pig here. I've got my notepad, and Let's do this. And in 20 minutes, Mary's going to teach me how to perfectly get by in speaking Chinese.
And I'm going to teach you how to read too.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
好的，好的，我们开始啦。我们上课，我们上课了，上课。我们上课，我们上课了。Class
上课了。
is started. 我们上课了。
上课了。
我是I me。我是 Mary 老师。是这是 is 哎呀，我是 Mary 老师。Mary 我是 Mary 老师。老师就是 teacher。
老师。
我是 Mary 老师。我是 Mary 老师。我是 Mary 老师。
我是 Mary 老师。
我是 Mary 老师。我是 Mary 老师。我是 Mary 老师。你 sorry we have to point in language class 你就是 you 你是 Mary 老师吗嘛 what is 嘛 question
We actually say the word question.
不这个 meaning it's the meaning
Got it.
你是 Mary 老师吗？你是 Mary 老师吗？
你是 Mary 老师吗？
你不是
Not you.
对，很好。你不，我用红色，不就是 not no， 不 no not 我用绿色。这个很乱。好，你不是 Mary 老师，你不是 Mary 老师，
你不是 Mary 老师，
对，你不是 Mary 老师，你是 Armin， 对不对
？Armin。
对。
Armin Mary no Armin 老师。
你是老师吗？好，你是老师 你是老师吗？你是老师吗？
No.
不
Boo, boo.
不
That's an easy one because it's like boo,
不，
boo.
好的好的，你不是老师，你不是老师，
你不是
你
老师。
不是老师，你不是老师，你
嗯，
是
是
学生啊，学生，我用这个学生，学生是 student，
say that again. Shoe, she,
学生，
station.
学生很好很好。你
你
不是老师，你不是老师，
你不是老师。
对，你不是老师，nobody's perfect。你不是老师，你是
你是
学生，你是学生，你
学生。
是学生，你是学生，
你是谁？你是谁生？
很好
No.
很好，对，好，
不。
不是吗？你不是学生，
你不是
今天 today， 今天 today， 你是学生，今天你是学生，好，
你谁生
对，你是学生，
？Student is very hard to say pronounce. I gotta say.
没关系，要听 listen， 听我讲，listen 听，好
听
，listen 听，好，我是
是
学生吗？Mary 是学生
no
不
不
Mary 不是学生。Mary 不是学生。
Armin 谁生？
对呀，你是学生，我是老师，我是老师。
老生
我是老师，你是学生。好，
yes
你是老师吗？
你是
你是老师
那
吗？
no
不，你不是老师，你不是老师。
你不是老师。
我
我
是学生。
no
对
不
，Mary，我不是学生，我是老师。很好，很好。我们继续，Let's continue，我们继续。OK，好的。
Whew. Do the students sweat as much as I am?
Usually they don't wear a coat and tie. 好的。我是 Mary 老师，我不是学生。好，你翻译成英文 translate to English。
Okay.
我是
You
Mary 老师。
Mary is the student.
我是 Mary 老师。
Wait, Mary. You. She.
我是
Oh, sure. Thought I wrote it down. Bad student.
没关系，没关系。
She was teacher, wasn't it? No.
对，我是 Mary 老师，我是 Mary 老师。这是
Mary is the teacher. I am the teacher.
对，这个 Teacher Mary。
Got it. So it's I. It's not you then.
对，我们说我 I'm being self-centered。 我是 Mary 老师。我不是学生。我不是学生。
我 I am not. I am not the student.
很好哇，二妹很好，对，很棒，很棒。我很好，很好，很好，很好。
We're talking. Let's talk a little bit about the on that high note of me translating it well. I think that's a good.
对，
What you just did is considered immersion, right? I remember talking to Katya about what that looks like. So this is exactly what it is, right? Kind of incorporating the language around the student.
Yes. So, with our students, the language of instruction is either French or Chinese. So they learn content, things like math, geography, science, art, even stories. They learn it in the language. So the teachers pretty much just use those languages to speak to the kids. But you're an adult. We didn't check your ID, but we'll assume that you're an adult. And I've for many years have used primarily Chinese in my adult classes. I don't really do them anymore since I've got plenty to keep me busy here. But yeah, so like I mentioned at the beginning, what I really want people to think about is getting the input in the language. And we only had 20 minutes, well, 15 really. And we need to use every second we have. So, basically we have to, pretty much only use Chinese. But yeah, as you saw, with a vocabulary of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unique words, you can follow along, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that bad actually. I remember when Polish has, if you're familiar with that, has a lot of consonants in their words, without many vowels, and so it's very hard to even pronounce some of the words. This one is not that bad, actually. What about written form? Do you also instruct written form?
我们继续 Let's continue.
Okay.
好不好？我们继续。 我们来看
Is that like a paragraph? Is that like the Star Spangled Banner or something?
这个你会读 you can read this 你会
Yeah, okay.
我
我
是 Mary 老师我是 Mary 老师 So what is it in English?
Mary is not the student or is the student is not.
老
I am
师什么是老师
Lao shows student, right?
不对
Oh, teacher.
对我是老师呀我是老师对我是 Mary 老师我是 Mary 老师
Okay.
我 I 是你说 am
Teacher, right? No, I am. Yeah.
I am teacher Mary 很好
Mary.
我是 Mary 老师
But is your name can you write out your name too?
we actually talked about this morning.
Yeah.
And I always go by Mary 老师 because I think it shows that, you know, at the end of the day, I am an American person who is one of the Chinese teachers. But yes, Mary is in every single textbook in China. There is a character, Ma Li. Ma Li. Which is just a transliteration of Mary.
Oh.
But there is another Chinese name that a very dear friend of mine gave to me a long time ago, which is Mei Li. And so Ma Li is, you know, it's okay. But this word here, this character, and I should tell you, I have very bad handwriting in all languages. Doesn't seem to be anything I can do about it. But this Mei is the plum, the Chinese plum blossom.
Mm.
And the Chinese people, like in Chinese culture, the plum blossom is sort of beloved for being the flower that blooms in winter.
One thing I forgot to ask Katya was the students are there. Do they get lessons in both Chinese and French, or is there a choice there?
No, they pick one.
Oh, they do pick one. And
Yeah,
are there more Chinese than French, or is there an equal number of people?
I mean, sometimes with the camps and things, sometimes it varies, but in terms of actual students, I think it's pretty similar, actually.
So we have a question here, Mary, before we close. Is this Mandarin or Chinese? What's the difference?
Okay, that's a very good question because I think there is a lot of confusion. So this, you know, what I know is Mandarin Chinese. So that's the official language of the People's Republic of China, and also official language of Taiwan. In Chinese, there's many different names and terms, but yeah, so this is Mandarin Chinese, sort of the common tongue.
Well, I hate to cut it short, but I think that's I thought I would be able to whip it up really quick. I mean, it takes some time.
Yeah, well, and that's the power of immersion is really you you get all the input that you need.
And you
But
also,
I didn't give you your homework assignment, so
uh-oh. What,
I'll email it to you.
what, and as far as when you're responding, like if you have a student who's struggling, or not even struggling, but you respond until you respond in Chinese or the language that you're instructing up to the point. Is there a point, I guess, right? Where if they don't understand anything.
Because we are teaching mostly kids and young learners, it is very concrete. So it's easier to make things very, very clear because there's always something you can point to.
Mm.
But for health and safety reasons, if we need to, we'll say something in English.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us for the short amount of time to give a little perspective of what it's like, and I would strongly urge you to check it out. I know that the International School of San Antonio, that you guys are actively looking for students, and you with all the precautions in place, you do have class, but you're always looking for those who want to learn Chinese and French, but also the classes there, you're also getting regular instruction, right?
Absolutely. We teach a comprehensive curriculum.
Well, thank you so much. Mary Field with the International School.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being patient, I guess.
No, it's my pleasure. This has been fun, actually, but I have to go teach some more classes.
I hope I was as good as some of the students in your class. Sometimes it's like you could hear what is being said, but you just can't pronounce it back.
And that's fine. That's how we all start out. So,
Like
and you're a terrific student because you haven't cried about using the purple crayon once. So
you're a good sport. Thanks for coming on, Mary.
All right, it's my pleasure. Thanks a lot. Bye.
You can find their link in Samantha's putting the link of the International School in the commentary. So thank you for joining us, Mary, and thank you to the International School of San Antonio. And if you give me a few seconds, we will be back.